So this is how the system works. You know, if you're in debt, women that have their stuff together and that work and have a savings, if they, you know, I've seen on dating websites where the women are just saying basically flat out they don't want a guy in debt. They don't want somebody who they want to meet somebody who has a job and a good credit rating. That's what they want. I mean, that's what's starting to happen. Women aren't going to be interested. If you want to have a married life and a home, etc., etc., women aren't going to be interested in somebody that doesn't have a lot. You know what I mean? I'm sorry if there's a lot of people that disagree with that. You know, if in Mendham had a BMW and a big house and was there alone, there'd be girls like chasing down his door, busting it down right now. Okay, but that's the barrier there. Women want security. They want somebody who's financially strong. And when you're, you know, I couldn't pay back my credit card, etc., it ruins your life in so many ways. People ask me what the key to life is, and I tell them, pay your credit card bills. Pay it. Don't even do a late payment. You have a late payment, it's going to affect your credit rating. It's going to affect your score. Okay? When you sign up for a mortgage and try and buy a house, they're going to say, okay, how much money do you make? That's going to determine how much of the house you can afford. Okay, here's your salary. What kind of job is it? Oh, well, I work for British Telecom. I'm a contractor. They're going to say, oh, that's not full-time employment. They actually ask you if you're part of a union, okay, when you're doing your credit application. If you are part of a union, and you have they're going to consider that very stable, and you're much more likely to get a home. Okay, now we know that the majority of unions, there's GM, there's steelworkers unions, there's all sorts of them, but the biggest union, of course, is the government, the civil service. So it seems that they get what the government is really trying to do. Trust me on this one. They're trying to protect those pensions for millions and millions and millions of people. Okay, you know, hundreds of millions of people all across the world. They can't have the stock market crash and everybody lose everything. All the investors are going to lose everything. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, the little guy who's in debt with their credit cards, who's just struggling to survive, has to ensure that their pensions are met. That's why all these bailouts are happening. The government's desperately doing what it can to try and bail out these companies, to make sure that they survive, to make sure that these pensions are there. That's why the immigration happens. Okay, and it's not going to work. Okay, let me tell you this. Here's how it used to work in the old days. In the old days, this is the way it used to work, okay? Somebody like Modern Mystic would go and he'd have lots of money and he'd give it to the bank. The bank would then take the money and they would invest it. Investments used to be investing in a company or investing in a corporation or any kind of thing like that. For instance, about 2 years ago, I wanted to actually develop a system where there'd be LCD screens, 1080p, and they would be showing graphics and that sort of thing. You've probably seen them in the stores. About 2 years ago, I wanted to seek out investment so we can develop this thing. And I found out that basically all the roads were just blocked, and I wasn't going to get any capital from anybody. I cannot realistically put out that kind of product unless I have the proper investment coming in. Somebody has to pay my salary while I'm developing this thing, and somebody else's. Okay? I need a few $100,000. Now, here's the way it works. The bank would lend me the $300,000. I would then take the money, and I would present them with a business case. I would say, here's the idea, here's the marketplace, here's the plan, here's the product, here's our technology skills, and here's the working prototype. Now I need $300,000 to hire a couple of employees, get an office space, and et cetera, over the next 2 years. Can you help me with that? And they would sit there and say, we believe this is a good idea. In the meeting, they would sit there, we believe this is a good idea, we'll fund you. And what happens is the bank would own a portion of my company. Okay? Or they would just outright loan me the money that I can pay them back. But typically the investors would, which is the bank, would loan me the company, and surprise, surprise, I would hire people. Okay? I would hire staff. I'd hire 1 or 2 people. And we would get this product up and running, and I could hire salespeople to go around and sell it. And as soon as we land a contract with nationwide distribution, it could be a Lowe's, it could be a Home Depot, it could be anything that's a nationwide distribution. Okay, we'd like your screens. Bang. we're rich, we're company's good, we're excellent. Okay, it's time to move into a warehouse and get into production and start to sell these screens. And the bank would own certain profits of my company. This employs Americans, it employs Canadians, it employs, you know what I'm trying to say. It helps out innovation in technology, etc. This is what used to happen. What's happening now is that they're not doing their investments this way anymore. They're investing in these last 15, 20, you wonder why there's no innovations. It's because this last 15 years they've been investing they've been going after people more aggressively for credit cards. It used to be that it was very hard to get one even if you were in school. And these last, 15, 20 years, they've been very aggressively giving credit cards to anybody. There's illegal aliens with credit cards. There's all sorts of people with credit cards. It's very, very easy to get now because they've worked out the math game so well and the interest rates that even if you do default, it's okay. They're just going to sell it to somebody who will make your life a mess. And they found out a way to saddle investments on the actual productive working person. These are through home mortgages. These are through credit cards. These are through, and there's so much money involved. Whether now it's getting your kitchen redone, now it's buying a vehicle, stuff you used to buy with cash. They're going to put this wall. They're going to put this. But where does that money go? It goes into investments. It goes back into the investors. But don't think of investors as multi-billionaire millionaires. Those are a few people at the top of the company. Where the profits really go, honestly, is they go to the pensioners, the people investing for their retirement, the people putting money into RSPs. That is not, I don't know what world some people live in, but that is not the average person. That is not, the average person doesn't have a 401k or these sort of investment plans, whatever. It's the top of the pyramid. They're looking out for the top of the pyramid. It's the government unions, the teachers, the GM workers, the steel workers, anybody who's in the unions and who have these government protected pension, union, and the government will do anything to protect them because they have to look out for their retirement. And it's also political savvy. Okay, if you go after the teachers' unions, they're going to, in every voting district, vote against you, in the next election. You can't touch them. This is why the system's broken. It's been hijacked. Okay, so that's another topic. But anyways, this is where the money goes. So you have to realize the banks could either invest in business and innovation and technology, and it will be a slow process to getting their money back, or they can very quickly give you a quick loan and then just keep making money and keep taking it right away. Okay, they can do that. They can trade paper around and make quicker profits. Okay, so I mean, this is the game that they're playing now, and it's all about to collapse. See, the thing is that they want you. The government wants you. The powers that be want you they want you to do things that will make them money and secure their lifestyles. They want you to smoke cigarettes. It doesn't matter if it's bad for you. It doesn't matter if you had a referendum and over 50% of people said, you know what, this isn't good for us, let's just ban it. They won't do it because they want that money, from all the taxes. That's how it works. I guarantee you, if you went and you put up wind and solar generators and every house started to get off the grid, do you think the government would just idly sit by and let you just, oh no, they want to supply you power. They want to charge you as much as they can and just rake off that. They will do anything they can. And what they've done very recently is in the last 20 years or so is that they figured out a way to make it so they're not going to actually tax you. They're not going to actually invest in business anymore. That's why there's no new innovations, if you've noticed. But what they're going to do is that they're going to say, okay, if you want to buy a car, you have to go through financing. Okay, your $25,000 car now becomes $35,000. At the end of it, that's how much it becomes. Your $20,000 kitchen after 10 years is going to be $30,000. Oh, but you just monthly low payments of $200. But still, they want that because they profit. It's a way of almost, it's not a tax, but it's a way of just making money off the actual person rather than investing it in a business with employees, which is no longer what they do anymore. That's why there's not a lot of medical research or anything else happening anymore. Because you can no longer approach these people for investment saying, I have this medical device that I believe will change things. can you please hear me out? They won't do that anymore. So they're just trying to attack the actual person as much as they can. Now you have to, when you buy a car, you got to go through financing. You buy a house, you got to go through financing. It's at the point now, if you want a TV, they're going to start broadcasting in high definition. What's going to happen is that, well, you know what? You got to buy high definition television. Surprise, surprise, they want you to go through financing. Do they want you to buy a television with cash on the spot and take it home? No, sir. No. They want you to go through financing, because these financing companies that offer, these loans for these TVs are subsidiaries of other companies, which are then the banks are heavily invested in, which is the credit cards. And it's just this big circle. But where does all that investment capital come from? It comes from the unions, the pensions, that's where it comes from. This is, I'm jumping ahead of all my